Alright, so a little bit of an update for you. It's been about a week since I got the bike to Illinois. Things have just been sort of crazy hectic since then, as they typically are. So I enlisted some help from some friends to get it out of the van, and then we wheeled it to the backyard into a storage shed, which I've retrofitted to some type of modified workshop. Not the most ideal conditions, of course, but the bike's out of the rain, and got my tools and stuff back here, so we're in good shape. Biggest issue I've had today is that I have electricity running to the shed that the previous owners put in, but they put it in underground, and it's been raining for the last 2 days. And the breaker outlet keeps snapping off. So I think that underground somewhere there's some type of short or exposed wire. So that's an issue. So that means no fans, no light in the shed right now, but I can go ahead and run an extra line out here if I need to and get that all back up. But it's a little muggy here today. We'll deal with it. I'm sweating anyway, so doesn't matter. But let me give you an update of where we are and what we've done so far. Alright, maybe hard to see in here, it's a little bit dark, but we did manage to get the tanks off. Relatively easy part. One of the gas tank caps was rusted, fused on. So I used my tiny brain, got myself an oil filter pulley, wrapped some cloth around that thing, and yeah, just yanked it, got it loose, so we're good there. Issue is, of course, let's see if I can get a little focus here. Yeah, sort of eating away. I think there's supposed to be more than that there. But anyway, gas caps, not super expensive. We can get that taken care of. I was a little concerned about the inside of the tanks because, of course, it's been sitting so long. They've been getting pretty rusty, I thought. So anyway, you won't really be able to see down in there. But yeah, you can see visible surface rust around the top end. I should be able to clean that up. I don't know. Ooh. Yeah, there's some stuff that needs dealt with in there. But anyway, the bottom of the tank, for as long as it's been sitting, not as bad as I thought. So, I think I'm going to get some muriatic acid, water it down, let it sit in there. I've got, I do things a weird way. I've got a dryer vent brush, and what I'm going to hopefully do is attach that dryer vent brush to a drill, and then just throw that thing down in there and just clean it out really good, and then you know, get the oil in there that I need to sort of protect the tank and this and that. So anyway, that's of course something for on down the road. That side, of course, seems to be worse because as the bike sits, it leans left a little bit, right? So the left tank is a little bit worse than the right tank, but hopefully we can get that all cleared up. Alright, outside the tanks, of course, we went ahead and took off the air filter cover, the housing unit. That wasn't too difficult. There was one stripped screw. But I got in there with some pretty meaty screwdrivers and was able to take care of that. So all the parts right now, you know, this I think used to be the foam filter. I think look at this junk. That's what's left of the foam filter. I think that was in there. Of course, 30 years full of oil probably will do that to you. It's black, so I assume there was some residual oil getting up in the filter, especially after some hard runs. So we'll get that cleaned out. We'll get that taken care of. Yada yada yada. The housing, of course. I was a little bit surprised when I took this off that there was not a gasket between the carb manifold and the housing. Typically you'd see those, but I doubt that it just dissolved. But it's possible. Who knows? We'll get that taken care of and looked at. As I mentioned before, I would really like to keep the original carb and the original air filter, if only for purposes of nostalgia. However, I am keenly aware that I could get a potential boost in performance overall and durability, I suppose, if I upgrade the Tillotson carb to an S&S Super E and corresponding intake. So we'll go ahead and take a look at that. We'll see. I don't know. We got lots of decisions to make coming up. Marvel Mystery Oil, of course, one of my favorite components for breaking down stuff. So yeah, just a tiny little shop set up right now. That was the tank that just fell over. You know, got the tools and stuff that I need. You know, fans, of course. No electricity right now, so that's a fun one. But anyway, we'll get all this crap figured out. And I'll show you guys what's up later. Anyhow, I tend to get a little talkative when I'm hot, and it's hot in the shed, so hopefully I've cooled off a little bit the past couple minutes. But you can see what else we've done. Of course, we had to cut some fuel lines. You know, those things are 30 years old, mad brittle, falling apart. I don't know, lots of different fun things to think about on this bike as I slowly tear it down. In an ideal world, in the next 2 days or so, I'm going to be able to pull out the top and bottom end. I'd really like to get those pieces into the house so I can sit at a table and work on those in front of an air conditioner. You know, we'll see what the wife has to say about that. But anyway, yeah, what else? This bike did not come with keys. Interesting reason. Perhaps I'll share that later. But nonetheless, it's got a fork lock on it, as you can see. Looks to be original. I would imagine that the fork lock also fits in the ignition switch. Saw some cool YouTube videos. I'll try to shout them out down in the comments or whatever when I get to that point. But essentially what I'm hoping to do is when I get all these wires traced and figure out where they go, I'm going to go ahead and pull that ignition switch and hopefully pull the tumblers out, go get a couple blanks, and then I found an interesting way to make keys out of blanks when you don't have keys for stuff like this. So yeah, it'd be cool to keep the original ignition switch, you know, clean it up, obviously, you know, get everything running on it, this and that. Of course, if I have to change it out, that'll be what it is. The biggest concern that I have in changing out the keys is if I do that, I'm gonna have to figure out a way to get that that fork lock out of there. And from what I've looked at online, it looks to be sort of a pain in the butt, so I don't really want to mess with that. If I can get the key to work in the ignition and that key works here in the fork lock, we're talking dream come true status. So anyway, we'll be addressing that later on. As you can tell, the seat came off. I've got some stuff in the bags here that I'll show you a little bit later on too. Obviously some damage here on the bags. You know, we can clean stuff like this up. I'm not super concerned about that. You guys may be wondering what's going on here and here. So on this buddy seat action, right? Let me zoom out here. On the buddy seat, it's got the two springs that come down, right? And there's a pan that sits there. Well, it wasn't really calibrated correctly, it didn't seem, or the pan wasn't big enough, or it wasn't customized enough to protect that back fender. So I'm gonna have to figure out a way to sort of, you know, grind down that metal, get it back to metal. You know, I don't know that I'm necessarily gonna spend any time pounding it out. Might fill it with a little Bondo or whatever before repainting, but definitely one of the things I'm gonna have to do is get a custom seat pan made for underneath the buddy seat that better protects that back fender. So that'll be a project at some point. Yeah, but so far, I mean, given the limited time I've had, I'm pretty pleased with the progress I've made. So obviously this is you know, a work in progress, and I will update you guys in a little bit about what else is going on with it. But I've got work to do, so see you later, Shovelhead Nation. Alright, so the best process for me is just to stop every time I finish something and sort of explain what's going on. I was figuring out how these hard bags went on. They're fiberglass, of course. Wow, they're super sharp. But anyway, I was like, how the hell do these things come off? You gotta take the brush guards off and all that crap too. So anyway, there's two little clips here. Boom, boom, right? They hook in here and here. Sorry if it's blurry, I'm doing my best. You pop those two clips off, and then there's a mounting plate, or mounting bar right there that corresponds with the mounting bars under there. So you pop those two initial clips, you pop the side off. They got little retainer clips on there, and then you can lift the whole thing off. I had to get a screwdriver under there, but I tried really hard to keep it on the plate, on the metal plate, so I wouldn't mess it up. So I'll get the other side off here in just a second, and then see what other next steps we gotta take. This light project is going to be interesting, I'll tell you that. Jiminy. Okay, back. Alright, I went ahead and got the tripod out, so hopefully this is a little steadier for you guys to watch. Again, I'm a fan of working smarter, not harder. These are the retaining clips I was talking about. So all I did is grab with some needle nose here, pop them both ways. Done and done. Alright, let's pop off. Bada bing, bada boom. So I don't even know that those things were connected down the bottom. That came off way easier than the other one. Here we go. I'll be back later. Okay, quick update. Got these bolts out here, 1/2 inch on both sides, up in the fender well. Was able to maneuver those out. Working on this guy. It feels like a 1/2 inch behind there, but I can't get something to grip it back there, so I'm gonna have to keep stripping it away until I can get something going on there. That's me hitting my head. Let me turn this down. Alright, so we'll have to do the same thing on the other side here. Got, if you can see them, it's really muggy, so I can't tell if I'm in focus or not, but these two bolts got to come out. We'll go ahead and get those taken out. That'll free the fender well up from the bag holders and stuff. So we'll go ahead and get that taken care of. But the good news is this was already scratched here. This went to this guy. This was still attached, but I clipped it because on these old Harleys, and I don't know about the new Harleys, I don't know a lot about them, but on the older ones, if you can see it here, there's a little hinge right there, see it? That allows you to bring the whole back end up. Now, the problem with this, of course, is that there's so many lights and license plate holders and all kinds of stuff on this crazy thing. I'm gonna have to do some further disassembly so I can swing that whole back end up. I'm gonna go look at the service manual now, and I'm gonna go see if I can actually just tap that pin out that's holding that. If so, if I can get that hinge pin out, I'm just gonna pull that whole assembly off. But I'm burning up, I'm sweating, I need some ice water. So we'll update you here in a little bit. Alright, just another quick little update. Got the rear part of the fender to swing upright. The hinge pin's working. There are no clear instructions on how to remove the hinge pin in anything that I've looked at. So So I am going to try to avoid doing that because I don't want to mess anything up. Some people have suggested to get underneath the fender, screw off the rivet that's holding the hinge pin, but I'll tell you what, I don't see anything. I don't see anywhere where it would be riveted in. See? It seems flat to me. It almost seems like the hinge pins are, or the hinge itself is actually part of the fender and not an accessory. So I'm going to be real careful there. Biggest challenge I've got right now is these guys. Okay, so I've got the whole back end swivels up and down now, right? But it's bumping into the tire down there. And I can't swing the whole bag rack up because it's going to get caught in the tail lights. To get to the tail lights, I got to get to underneath of the fender. So, in an ideal world, if I can get these guys out right here, then I can go ahead and just take off the whole back fender with the light assembly attached and the hinge attached and everything. Of course, the problem I'm running into is underneath that fender, I don't have a good inclination of what size nut is holding that bolt on. It feels small. It feels like a 1/2 inch, but it's hard to say. I don't really know. So this is the one right here. Right there. So, trying to dig underneath the fender, figure out what size bolt that is under there. It's hard to see, and I don't have a stand yet, so whew, we're making it harder than it needs to be. We had a big garage, but hey, here we are. I'll get back at you. Well, guess what? I said it was a 1/2 inch. I was proven wrong. That is a 9/16. I did this wrench to grab onto it back there. Alright, quick update, and then I'll get back to this. So that little rubber piece I thought was being a problem down there under the wheel well, under the fender, was actually an extension of those wires. There's a hole cut in that back fender that those wires, you can see they're wrapped there. They're wrapped there, right? And then you can see there's, well, you probably can't see, but there's a hole in the fender that feels like that they go through the fender and then they're rewired to the back end here. It felt like a little rubber plug, but it's just the wire wrap. It was all oily and gross. So I trimmed those wires. I'm gonna rewire the whole bike anyway. So 4 wires I clipped there. Was able to pull this stuff out of that hole then, and now I'm gonna see if I can get a wrench on there. All right, more progress. As you can see, got the back fender off as I thought. It came out in one big assembly. The UFO lights is still on the back, so what's cool is I can go ahead and work on that separately now. Lights and all that jazz. But anyhow, yeah, back fender's off. Not sure what's going to happen next, but we're going to figure it out. Probably go ahead and take that air scoop off. Right there. Boop. Oh, it's muggy. And yeah, I don't know. Slowly working our way toward the motor. We'll get there eventually. So, more updates to come. Okay, bye. Okay, had a stopping point here. Went ahead and took the air scoop off. Went ahead and took the heat shield off here. Again, most of this stuff is coming unbuttoned pretty easy. I've been pretty pleased for the most part with how this all has gone. Of course, I know I'm not down into the nitty-gritty yet, so there will be challenges. But for right now, I forget sometimes that I actually own an operating motorcycle. So I'm going to take my little V-Star out for a cruise because I'm soaked. And I'm going to go get a cold drink, relax a little bit, pick this up in a little while. I don't know how much more I'm going to do tonight. Again, this is primarily just to give you guys an idea of sort of where I was at in the process, sort of document it along the way. And again, you know, I'm giving myself a couple months to get this thing done, up and running. I would like to get the engine on a stand and you know, see if I can get some calibration and tuning done on that boy by October, September, October. All right, one more final update for tonight. It's gonna get dark soon, so I want to get this stuff put away. But I ended up taking the buddy arm off just to get it out of the way. This side I haven't really done much with, as you can see. You'll notice though that I did manage to get the exhaust off both sides. Zoop. I ended up taking the right floorboard off. The bottom of it's going to need welded anyway. It came apart. I'll show you a detail later. But essentially what I've done is back out here. Take out the floorboard here. Obviously, I took out the back peg. Got this piece dismounted, but there's still some electrical connections there that I want to make sure that I write down, and I don't want to lose track of where all that stuff goes. Let's see. Gosh, I don't even know. Yeah, just been working on obviously ripping stuff off. So got some WD-40 on the tappet blocks right now. I'm going to go ahead and let that just sort of soak in a little bit. You know, I don't those are going to be a little bit difficult to take out, I would imagine. But yeah, that's really about it. So again, I just wanted to get as much on video as I could for you guys, and really just for my own documentation purposes. I'm going to go ahead and walk around the bike and sort of just take an inventory of how things are assembled right now anyway. So I keep that in sort of a private collection of videos, so that if I ever have to go back and sort of take a look at how things were put together, then I'll sort of have that archival reference. But yeah, like I said, I'm going to go ahead and just lay a blanket down in the house, probably get some of these bigger pieces in just so I can make some room in the shed. But yeah, that's it for tonight. I'm pooped. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the update, and hope you guys had a good weekend. And yeah, I don't know when the next video is going to be posted, but I'll do my best to sort of keep track of stuff as I keep going, and I will let you guys know where I'm at in the process. So be patient. I promise I'll get back to you. All right, bye.